Why don't we just get started with the main purpose of this Zoom was, Mike, you called me and just had a great idea being a representative for many of the Fidelity Imports brands, which I was lucky enough to go check out. And and then also MoFi and the Sourcepoint. So you have and you're a bot dealer. So you have some pretty impressive brands, and we got to know each other in Tampa, hit it off, and I really respected how you run your dealership. You're choosing brands that aren't necessarily the highest margins. Obviously, the Bach, there's plenty of distributors, there's plenty of dealers won't even touch it because the margins are so tight. It's not one of these 10 times parts markup minimum that we're seeing in the hobby now. So I was very impressed with you, and the amount of work it takes to actually sell a Bach is a little more nuanced. So very impressed with you there. And then the brands that I think we even talked about, some brands that you thought wanted to get my input on, and you've picked up some really great brands. But MoFi, I think you've had for a while, and you have the SourcePoint 888s, which are really the hottest thing in the industry right now. Thanks to Andrew Jones, #1, anything he puts his name behind sells really well and is high quality. But then on top of that, there's been lots of good show coverage. I did some coverage of his studio, and then recently 2 reputable reviewers gave it a very high review and feedback on that. And so you just texted me and called me, and we talked about an idea you had, especially for my members. So wanted to just let you talk about yourself as a dealer for those that aren't familiar, aren't in the group, know you already, the deal that you are offering to members of my group, and then I'll go ahead and discuss all the details required to proceed.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Mike Sweck. I own Unique Home Audio. We're in Dunedin, Florida, which is just outside of Clearwater. And back in the mid-2000s, I actually owned a company called Pure Audio in Michigan. And had some really great brands back then. I had Quad, Audio Quest, Belcanto. And then when we ended up moving to Florida, I sold that business and just kind of got out of high-end audio for a while. Ended up really missing it. And me and my wife went to the Tampa Expo one year, and she basically looked at me and said, "Man, you're a kid in a candy store. You should just start something up. You know all the brands here." And that's when I started Unique Home Audio. Unfortunate part about it, I incorporated January of 2020. We all know what happened in February. The world shut down, so it was a very slow build. The goal with the name Unique is I did sales for a large construction firm. I was in a lot of houses, and I saw an audio system. I talked to people. And just seemed the common denominator was they always felt pressured. They didn't get help after they purchased stuff with setting things up, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I started Unique Home Audio not so much as a money aspect, but really to help people and see the smile on their face when you set something up and the system sounds good. That's more my pleasure. I made my money in sales with the construction company, so I started this really to help people more than anything.
I thought you were a Chippendale dancer.
Yeah. Well,
I thought that's where you made most of your money.
Maybe for the legally blind, but yeah, that aside. So that was very, no, you're okay. That was funny. It's a very long story, but I really condensed it quite a bit. I really just kind of started hand-picking brands, listening about what was great value for the money. So that's kind of why I have the brands I have. I didn't go for the flavor of the month, or that's what's selling. I had to have a value, good sound quality. So that's in a nutshell kind of how I started the company. Just in doing that, actually, Tom, who's one of your followers in the WhatsApp.
He's on the call. I don't have him on video right now, but yeah.
He started out as a customer. We ended up becoming friends. before I went to Expona the previous year, he told me about checking out this thing called Bach, and made a point to go into the room and sat down in the chair, not really knowing much about it. I kind of reviewed a little bit about it before going out there, and sat in the chair, put the microphones in the ears, and I was like, holy crap. I mean, it was just a piece of equipment that to me does the most out of anything in your system. And I don't sell the Bach for Mac, so there's not many things I can answer on that. I sell the DO to a DO, and that single unit, a lot of people will say it's expensive, but for what you get, I mean, preamp, 6-channel DAC, the Bach filter, room correction, you can get a crossover, it can eliminate a lot of cables. I just, that's my main thing. I don't even put a lot of preamps out. If someone wants to come in for a preamp, I'm going to try to sell them the whole kit and caboodle with the Bach. And having that was how we met. Edgar hooked me up with you for the Tampa show to kind of see if we can do something with the Bach, do after hours, which actually I learned a ton from you. I thought it was a great experience, a lot of fun. I think it was amazing that you helped me out. I'm a small dealer, and you took the time and you were gracious. So, I mean, I believe we became friends. So, in all that, saw you at Expona this year, helped Edgar with his room, give him breaks and stuff. We went out to dinner, and went around the show. I wasn't really looking to bring in any other brands. A few things really impressed me for the money. I knew about the MoFi, the 8s and 10s. I like floor standing and full range, and 888s just blew me away. I thought the bass response was excellent. And when they said the price, $49.99, I really thought that was each. A lot of companies do the each instead of the pair price. And he said, $5,000 for a pair of speakers that do everything those do. I mean, to me, it's the best bargain in high-end audio. So after Expona, I had to shift some things around, but then reached out to MoFi and kind of, want to know how much they had. He said, they're all back ordered. The original shipment was sold out, and that the new batch was coming in August. And that's kind of what got my brain going, is like, man, maybe we can do sell a bunch of them, get on the August deliveries for people. And my mind was basically to reach out to you, offer a deal to your followers and through WhatsApp group, and give them 10% off and free shipping. I know a few comments on when you announced it, someone said something about a dealer undercutting other dealers. That's not the intention at all. It's to, if I'm getting a little bit of a break, I'm going to pass the break on. So as ordering many pairs, the margin's a little bit better. So all I'm doing is passing it on to your followers. And as many other online companies, they offer free shipping. So I'm going to obviously match that. And that's when I reached out to you to kind of say, hey, I think this is a really good opportunity for people who follow your, who are part of the WhatsApp group and follow you. And that's when we started talking about it.
Yeah, so just to summarize for people that may even be just chiming in because they see the word Sourcepoint, don't even know me. Basically, I'm just a YouTube. I have no skin in the game with this. This is an affiliate commission kind of thing. But what he is doing is offering to members of my channel. So you could be a subscriber and then a member for just $5. You could join for 1 month for $5, and then you can quit just to get this deal if you want. I think you'll find that $5, you get a lot of fun stuff and expertise and lots of value. And we've got some members that are actually on the Zoom. Maybe I'll put them up later and they can chime in what they feel about the WhatsApp group. But irrespective of that, you're offering to kind of the members of my channel this 10% discount plus free shipping. I'm not getting anything out of it other than if you are a member, I get the $5. So it'll be basically, I know there are others out there that are doing affiliate commissions. Nothing's wrong with that. There has been the there's a perception of affiliate commissions being bad because it used to be, still is, I guess, but YouTubers used to just create review channels and then go to these websites where, phony companies were offering, packages at $19, $39, $49. You create a fake review, get affiliate commissions, and then you make money that way. It was kind of a seedy way to make money with YouTube and affiliate commissions. I think the guys in our hobby, in the YouTube realm of audiophile, I think these are legit guys. I know Randy does affiliate commissions, totally legit guy. This is their way of making money. And I'm not trying to sabotage any of that, but I'm not at the point where I need to do any of that, but I do want to offer something to my members. There's a level of our group having a lot of, I guess when you get to know, there's no, like normal social media, people can be sock puppets. They can hide behind personas. You don't really get to know them. Everybody in the group is, there's 100% transparency of who you are. The expertise, the advice is genuine. There's no egos. There's no issues. I mean, I haven't had to kick anybody out. I think like 2 years ago, there was one guy in Australia, and that was it. Like, I haven't had to kick. I mean, it's such a positive environment for good advice and helping each other out. And so that's one of the side benefits. And Michael approached me about this offer, wanted to offer it, and then I wanted to offer it to as many people as possible, considering the Sourcepoint 888, because under 10,000, actually under much higher price point than even 10,000, I've heard a lot of speakers far worse, than the Sourcepoint 888s. And not that those speakers, yeah, some of these are really bad at that point, but the Sourcepoint 888s punch way higher than their price points. And to the point that you made about construction quality, one of the value that I had, valuable things I was able to get talking to Andrew, knowing him, going to his studio, is really being able to dive into how things are made behind the scenes, and the measurement techniques he uses. People can put these on, stands and measure them externally. They can do even clipple measurements, all kinds of really good things to see what the end product is. But it's also valuable to know what went into it. And when you understand the construction of that cabinet and how much work that went into, just to meet a $5,000 price point for the chambering that thing had to do is very rare. And the beveling of the edges for diffraction purposes, the 2-inch thick front baffle, these are things that you won't even see on much more expensive speakers. And the markups are much worse. And the performance isn't there because the acumen and the experience of Andrew Jones isn't there to give you that high value and pick the right parts to get the highest value. And really, in many respects, this could be an end game speaker for most people in reasonable budget ranges. Obviously, I'm still an open baffle fan. I have some things that I like presentation wise, but really from a standpoint of if you have a Bach and the Sourcepoint 888s, you're going to be in the 0.1 percentile of results, regardless of budget. I mean, you're going to be able to get almost full range, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, ruler flat if you like it, or whatever curve you prefer in your ear at your listening position. These are things that audiophiles that have been in the hobby 40, 50 years have never experienced, being able to have that ability at their listening position and get that level of performance. So at $5,000, and then you're offering, obviously, shipping is not cheap nowadays. This is just US, right?
Only US, yes.
Okay. Want to make sure because
yeah, because they'll go on a pallet and they'll use a freight company.
Oh, it is going to be pallet. Okay. Yeah, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
the only way the way the shipping's been, it's Tom actually can attest to some stuff I just got recently, and how is unbelievable how damaged this stuff was. Not actually the components were actually fine, but I don't know how one of the Unison Research Integrated I got, the box was destroyed. I thought that thing was just going to be rattling, but yeah. So I'm going to put stuff on pallet and do freight.
Okay. Yeah,
but yes, only in the U.S.
Sorry, my dog is barking in the background. And actually, I'm dressed up, not really for you, Tom, or anybody else. I got to go out to dinner right at 8:30, so I am going to have to cut it off at 8 o'clock sharp. but did want to take a chance to invite other people in the Zoom that chimed in, members of the WhatsApp group, to offer any questions. And then I'll start looking at the chat in YouTube to see if anybody has specific questions for you. But why don't you talk about real quick before we do that, there are different finish colors, right? And that'll be available in August?
Yeah, so there's 3 colors available: the high gloss black, white, and then there's a walnut color. The walnut comes with like a gray grill and the black, but they do offer a black grill. It is an optional item. They just changed the price. I don't have it off the top of my head. If someone wanted the black grill, we can get that. It would just, I think it's like $150 or $200 for the pair of them. So we would just need to know that, and I can order them. The black grills are now available too.
Okay.
And this delivery is for August, and they do plan on them going very quickly. They actually already are kind of going, but I get updated because of what we're offering, so I'll know if something runs out. As of right now, all the flavors are available.
Yeah, and I'll give some insider tips. And probably even dealers don't like me saying this, but one of the best times to buy and negotiate, guys, is the summer months with dealers. I've just learned over the years that, and Michael probably can attest to this, when people are on vacation, spending their extra income on vacation. Now in COVID, that was a boondoggle for audiophile dealers because people weren't spending that money. But the summertime, most all dealers are hurting relative to the rest of the year. So this is the best time to get your deals on things and on certain brands that have huge markups, the dealers have more play. Now, the brands that you represent, not so much, especially the Bach. There's no discounting at all on the Bach. I just sold a Bach for Mac today. I mean, even my best friends paid full retail on an audio and Dio. But that's another thing, like I was talking about, that impressed me with the brands that you choose. And that's, maybe I'll do a separate video, because I know Michael's on the call, Michael Amster, and he had told me they wanted me to talk about this because we're seeing a lot of drama in the hobby. Maybe we could touch on that, not in the get in the weeds on that, but we're seeing so much drama in the hobby this week with DCS. What was the other one? Denafrips dropping, a distributor, and then there was something minor today with Rune. Just, with the Harman buying Rune, now they're only going to sell direct. There's lots of change in the hobby, and then it gets even to high-level drama. I try to stay out of that, and I like to associate with people that are outside of that stuff. And, Michael, in just a short time I've known him, impressed me with the brands he selects to represent, quality of person he is. So I feel good about this Zoom. I never have done this before. I've never offered this. I do represent the Bach. So actually, technically, we're kind of competitors in a way. But you got the Florida territory, is totally different. And then I do represent Blue Jeans Cable, which, oh, by the way, if you are a member of my WhatsApp group, you do get a discount on Blue Jeans Cable. So that's another reason if you need the Octoquad or whatever. That's the perks, some of the financial perks. Also, via Blue, can get discounts on that. We've done bulk orders for people, so saving them tons of money. Other dealers are in the WhatsApp. It's not just Michael, members of 3MA and others. When they have things that they need to move and offer it, they often offer it first to our group at a good price. Other members of the group, when they're upgrading, have shared some deals and have exchanged stuff. So it's a lot better, in my opinion, than going to eBay and Audio Gone route. Obviously, we don't have the volume of equipment, but the advice alone in the WhatsApp group, and maybe that's a good point to start opening it up to everybody else. But this is, I think, one of the added values that a lot of times we're not talking about new gear at all, hardly, in the WhatsApp group. It's usually about how we can improve things, room treatment wise, setup wise, things that with the money we already spent, how we can get better results. And with the Bach, you can do measurements so quick to actually prove the results without listening to 100 songs and guesstimating. So with that being said, and since I only have a little limited time, let me go ahead and unmute everybody that wants to come in, and then I will change the view here. Let's see what we can do. How many people we got? Let me pick a good one here. Oh, wait, no, let me do this one. Got a bulletin board here. I can't see Jerry, Timothy, and Michael. Michael's off to the side. All right, we're in a classroom here. I need to call Edgar. So, guys that have dialed in, did y'all have anything you wanted to chime in with? We could start on the left with Michael.
I didn't have anything. I just kind of wanted to see what, was going on with the deal. I'm pretty set, as you know. I'm pretty like I've got everything, but I did go and see Andrew's studio, and I did hear the 888s. And for people who unlike, I think the only person in this call that owns them is Robert, but you and I heard them and they were fantastic in that room. I don't know if other people could say, are they, end game type of speakers, but they punched well above their weight in terms of what you got for the budget. I thought the sound was good. I thought the bass was coherent. I thought the imaging was very good, the way that Andrew had them. And, he even had a lot of insights for us, like on setup, saying don't, toe in too much, make sure that you're slightly off axis when listening. So I think those were the things that I was here to either hear or share, but didn't have anything about Michael's dealership. I know that he did a previous Zoom that I listened to, so it's the second time, or if not a Zoom, it was your interview on the channel. Sometimes it's all blurry in my mind, but yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
that's why I wanted to go to you, because you were there with me in Andrew's studio and got to hear him talking to us. I did share most of the things that at least I videoed, but he talked to us a lot about a lot of stuff off camera. Very impressive guy, very impressive pedigree, plus the Costa Mesa show, his presentation. So yeah, it's good to get as many people's feedback and 2 cents into the Sourcepoint 888s. And yeah, at that $5,000 price point, I'm trying to think of anything else offhand that, I think I mentioned the Dolly, which is a little bit more that I
Yeah, it's
heard
like
in Munich.
7,000, right?
It's like 7. Sometimes looks may be one thing that people like. I do want to see the white. I've seen the white Sourcepoint 10s. They look phenomenal. So I'm interested to see the white and black contrast on the 888s. That could be really killer for my taste, at least. So it's good to see some other. Robert, what color is the ones you have?
Walnut.
The walnut?
Yeah,
And you're liking them so far?
absolutely. I haven't been in the hobby that long, and the difference between what I thought was pretty good speakers to the source points was a massive improvement. I'm listening about double the amount of time listening just because I'm enjoying it so much,
That's the biggest testament. I mean, like some people, that's cool, Michael. He's got the white and black. That looks really good, for my taste at least. But yeah, that is one of the best subjective reviews you can give is I'm listening more. I'm using my system more. Like some people will get so neurotic into audiophile jargon of detail, soundstage, all of this stuff, but then they turn it off after 10 minutes, even though it's technically got some better aspects. If you are actually listening to your system more, that to me is the number, because that's something that is subliminal. I mean, that's controlling your behavior more than these technical jargon terms that people like to parse with. So yeah, that's great. What amplification are you using with it?
The AGD tempo.
Okay.
Nice.
And I'm using the UCX2 as both connected to Bach and as the DAC and preamp all in one. So
yeah, so you should send me your measurements. You've got
Okay.
the ORC running on it too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think, and I can even send it to Andrew. I think he would be interested to see that
Okay.
his 888 with ORC, what the actual in-room, in-ear measurements can be.
Okay.
Because I think that the level of performance with those two combined is something that people that spend 50, 60,000 have never heard that level of high fidelity results before. Sorry about my dog barking over there. Tom, you had anything you wanted to chime in? I know you called in an hour early.
I was on Eastern Standard. Sorry, I didn't catch the timing. Not a lot. I mean, as you said, I'm a customer of Michael's and have been for a couple of years now, 2 or 3 years now, I guess. And I bought a lot of equipment from him over that short period of time. I have 3 sets of speakers and an amp and a very nice turntable, and it's a different experience doing business. So I'm kind of here to vouch for him. I have my fingers this close to buying a pair of Sourcepoint 888s, but I just don't need them right now. So, and I actually owned Andrew Jones's Evolution ones from TAD a few years ago and enjoyed them very much. So I know what that guy's capable of. This is going to be an enormous hit. Like you said, I heard him at Expo and at 5K. Even DIY stuff isn't gonna be able to track these. It's just
No, like I
impossible.
said, and when you combine it with a Bach, I'm considering these actually for one of my rooms in my Airbnb because you have to
Yeah.
worry about damage, you have to worry about theft, but at 5,000, you're not really at that, significant risk factor.
Right.
But I can still show the performance possible with something like a Bach and other kind of thing. It's not where it may not be the best speaker in the world, but it's also not going to be something that's curtailing the performance and enjoyment. It's still going to make people listen to music all the time. And that's ultimately what at $5,000, it's very tough to find a speaker that's even
Yeah.
full range,
And hopefully a thief would hurt his back because they're 100 pounds each, right?
You're right. You're
I think
right.
Andrew would find it fascinating from members of this group to see actual in-room measurements in the field, in the wild
Yeah.
of speakers.
I want him to come down. I mean, I visited him twice. It's his turn to come visit me.
There you go.
And put him in my room and play those exact same tracks that we played, but this time it's going to be the Bach with my speakers and 2 subs. I want him to hear those same tracks we played in his studio in my room and get his feedback on that and show him measurements that every time people come back there, the thing that the macro point, again, pivoting a little bit to Bach, is that we all measure differently. Same room, same gear. We all have the different measurements. And it's very intriguing to come to that realization that that's at least part of the reason why we hear differently and prefer different things. There's obviously some psychoacoustic things, moods, all kinds of other variables why we hear differently. But just innate in our body, the way our head is shaped, the way our ears are shaped, we measure differently. And now we have the ability to measure that and adjust for that with a product like the Bach. So I really want somebody like Andrew to come by at some point. And obviously anybody that's watching ever in Houston, you're welcome anytime. As long as I'm in town, I'm rarely in town. And like I said, even tonight, I got to go out and meet some people. But by the way, I got a new coat here. What do you guys think of this?
What about the hat?
No hat tonight. Actually, I got to tell you guys about the hat. But look at this jacket I picked up. Anyway, but let me tell you guys about the hat real quick. I went to Fredericksburg, and here's another thing that I'm going to be public for the first time. I am going to relaunch my clothing line, and I'm going to relaunch it strictly with cowboy hats. And so, because when I went to Fredericksburg wearing that hat, and I think I even posted in the WhatsApp group some footage from the different clubs I went to. Literally everybody was, first of all, I was there by myself. It made it very easy to meet people because, the hat just, gravitates people to ask questions and whatnot. But I had at least 12 people ask me where you got the hat, where can I get a hat? Do you have a business card? So I'm not leaving the audiophile industry, but I got another side hustle coming soon. And I'll hook you guys up with hats pretty soon. Because Michael, you definitely need one.
Yeah, he does.
Well, both of you, Michael, need one.
I think it's funny that you're having your hats designed in Hollywood versus Texas.
That's the ironic thing is when the people come up to me and I tell them where I get it made, I'm like, it's not legit. This isn't like ranch or, like rodeo style hats, but they love it. And really, guys and girls, it's almost 50-50 how many come up to me and want them. But in any case, that's going to be coming on the horizon soon. And getting back to Tom talking about dealers, we had a lot of negative stuff. We're talking about drama in the hobby, but I like to feature people that are positive, and I could just vouch for Michael being part of the good guys in the hobby. And there's far more good guys in the hobby than bad. I know the bad kind of gets the attention and the drama this week, but most brands are great. Most dealers are great. Most customers are great. There's always going to be bad apples in each and every one of those. And I'm going to do a video like Michael had requested to kind of give you what I go through in my head. How do I get my intuition of this guy versus that guy? What kind of things do I look for? What kind of things do I ask? And, Michael has never bad-mouthed another brand when I've talked to him. He's asked my input of what brands he thinks, he solicits other experts' opinion. He's not hustling anybody or anything like this. This is a genuine offer that's better than any other offer that I've seen for Sourcepoints out there. The hottest speaker could sell them at full retail, no problem. These are the kind of people I like to support and help. And so, yeah, and on top of that, helping my subscribers, getting good deals, joining the WhatsApp group. You can try it for 1 month, $5. Almost nobody leaves. I haven't had to kick anybody because we don't have any of those drama queens in our group, thankfully. Well, I mean, Michael Amster is kind of a bad apple. He's one of the most helpful guys, actually, in the entire group. And Michael, you don't have pictures of your car. What's the latest on your restoration job on your car?
My car, it's still going. The transmission's decided fourth gear is optional. So sometimes it's in and out of fourth. So I haven't been driving it that much this summer. Been to a couple of meets, but it's covered in the driveway. It's keeping me company. It's the right weather to use it.
Well, yeah, not here in Houston for sure, but yeah, I'm jealous of that weather over there. That's the other good thing about the WhatsApp group. You get to know people's other hobbies. We're not all just geeky audiophiles like Michael is. Most of us have some pretty cool other hobbies. All right, so I just want to go to the chat real quick and make sure we didn't have any questions for people. Let's see. Gerald was on. Let's see. Oh, Joseph said hi. Hey, fellas. Hey, Joseph. So Joseph has a YouTube channel too, Symphonics Audio. Check him out. One thing I gotta give props to, I don't get the chance to watch many YouTube channels, but one of the few that I'm subscribed to are usually the Canadian guys. They seem to do a really good job with their reviews. Any other good YouTubers, y'all? I mean, I know y'all have a favorite, of course.
Well, I always watch Aaron's. It's always
Aaron's, okay, he was the one that did a Sourcepoint.
Yeah, he's great.
Michael, you watch a few, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of I watch a few. Every once in a while I watch Aaron's. I used to watch a bunch of the headphone guys, like headphone like Golden Sound, the guy who is in the DCS mix up. I've watched him as solo as well as on part of the headphone channel. Trying to think of who else. I've watched Thomas before he became part of the Taz crew. Used to watch Ron, used to watch a couple of others. I'll try to think of other folks who I see, but they come in. Kurawong, the guy in Singapore, does a lot of headphone reviews, and almost every piece of equipment and every headphone. I don't know how the guy funds his thing, but I think he owns almost everything, and it's like $100,000 in headphone equipment that he
Really?
owns. So
I
it's
don't know.
yeah.
I've never even heard of. Okay.
I'll type his name. You could find him pretty easily, but he's got years and years of reviews out there.
Yeah, one of the benefits to me of the WhatsApp group is you guys are like my eyes and ears. You'll post links, and then I find out about cool stuff that I don't get a chance to see YouTube wise. I think Timothy just logged off. Sorry, Timothy. Good seeing you. And Jerry, you're on, but you don't have your mic or camera on. Yeah, so DCS, let's just talk about that real quick. It's not my point to get involved with that, but just a macro thing in general. I think we were talking about this is that, you know, a bad employee, I run my own business outside of this. And, you know, if you have an employee that's a bad apple, as I mentioned in the chat, is that, you know, great employees make you as an owner, your life easy. Bad employees make your life hell. So, but ultimately you as the owner are responsible for your employees. So it's a very tough thing that people that don't own a business realize how difficult that is. But at the end of the day, you know, things like that happen with DCS, it's a shame. And it's a shame that that got to that level. I will just say in general, one of the things that I've kind of learned on the fly, and you guys helped me out with this, especially when we had the issue when the Mark Levinson, Daniel Hurt stuff came up. And here we'll reveal some stuff behind the scenes that I don't think I ever shared in public. But basically, I had come out with that video just for you guys. It's still in the membership section, where I was very negative on the health claims and the patent information alone, what I was able to glean from that of the Mark Levinson, Daniel Hertz C-Wave. And, you know, I just was not sold at all. Now, I could have done that video public, and you guys counseled me, gave me good advice because I was on the fence to not do it. I'm glad, because what it does show is that if you do have questions or issues or negatives, I think that both parties in this case could have resolved things by at least having some communication prior to it going public. Because I know what happened with Mark and I is that I got a little bit more information about he had to do what he could do for the patent. He wants to do more. He understands where people aren't sold on it. And I got a better impression of him and why that didn't sell me. It still didn't sell. It hadn't changed my opinion of the health benefits side, but at least I got his side of the story, and I was able to present that transparently to everybody, and people can make their own judgment. And I think the interactions between press and the manufacturers like that can do a lot more than the drama does. And hit piece, and I'm not saying it was a definite hit piece by Golden Sound, but you know, it's just a case of there are ways to kind of on both sides to mitigate the drama. And at least in my case, that's one example, and there's plenty others that I can share from my history in the hobby, even before I had a channel. And there's a lot of issues that I've had with certain brands that I still haven't even made public yet. But in any case, you guys are welcome to chime in with any thoughts you had. I know we shared a lot of this stuff in the membership section, and many of you aren't, you know, might not be comfortable sharing any of that publicly, but feel free if you do.
Well, I didn't know the Golden Sound got Cameron at all. Anyway, I was real impressed just digging in a little bit to how he conducts his business. You know, he measures, he does all the right things, and he seemed to be straight up. But I just watched it develop a little bit, and I came from pretty big corporate America. I'm retired, but that's what we call a institutional lack of control on DCS's part. And somebody, you know, there's consequences for that, and that's kind of what happened. And to their credit, they've dealt with it. However, to their discredit, they had a lack of control that was pretty obvious, and that's still there. So
Right.
they have to clean that up, the company, and it's a shame. You know, it's a pretty big company, I think, in the business, been around a while, and pretty good reputation, I thought. but it was just interesting to watch it out in public, which I don't think they expected. So
And that's the thing nowadays is that pretty much everything in social
yeah,
media is in public.
yeah,
So you got to be very careful how you navigate these things. And it is incumbent upon us as reviewers and YouTubers to maintain a level of professionalism. There's a lot of guys out there that aren't, and just do, you know, uh, have diarrhea of the mouth. But
yeah,
the problem, but people can make a judgment for themselves. Everybody out there with a double digit, well, if you have a double digit IQ, you probably need some help. But anybody with a IQ above room temperature can pretty much figure out who to take advice from and who to kind of, who to watch for entertainment purposes, who to watch for true advice. And then guys like Golden Sound seem to do a really good job. He kind of he broke the algorithm of YouTube of getting big really fast. If you didn't know his history, he had done something against MQA, and he even got a recording uploaded to Tidal that got MQA authenticated to kind of, from his perspective, show how MQA wasn't particularly, and he wasn't enamored with it, and so he got very polarized. And unfortunately, that's in social media that creates vanity metrics, whether we like it or not. I follow the UFC. I watch pro wrestling still to this day. That's the whole formula. Controversy creates cash. If you buy tickets to the Super Bowl, you may have spent $5,000 for that ticket or more. If you're watching the game and a fight breaks out in the stands next to you, guess what everybody's watching? They're watching the fight. They're not watching the game. So people want drama. They like fights. They're going to watch it. It's why people watch Real Housewives versus, a documentary where they're actually going to learn something. So I totally get that. And I understand that lure is very attractive on social media, Facebook in particular. Facebook is one of the worst areas for audiophiles to be. But there's some good forums out there. AudioGone not being one of the good ones, in my opinion, because there's a lot of sock puppet accounts and other things. But there's some good forums out there. My WhatsApp group, I think, is total transparency. That's why I wanted to create that. YouTube as well. You're going to have some good and bad apples there. But for the most part, I think I get to see more people. I get to go to more shows. I get to know consumers, dealers, distributors, manufacturers, go to actual manufacturing sites. There's a lot of great people in our hobby, and I don't like it getting dragged into the mud or getting misconstrued by a few of these instances. And that's why I'm going to be doing more of my Italy tour, because these are 3 companies, man. If you just wait, all of these are great companies, but wait till you see Gold Note. These guys are doing Six Sigma level stuff that you only see in these massive organizations in a small company in Italy. I mean, it's just amazing some of the things I saw. And I think a lot of people are going to be impressed with that series coming soon. But I'm going to have to be running soon. I got about 10 minutes max. But anything else you guys wanted to share while we had some time?
I'll make one more comment about the dealership aspect of it, just because again, I've dealt with Michael and many other dealers over the years. And sometimes things don't go very well, and I've bought a lot of product. I've supported a lot of factory direct companies, Odyssey, Spatial, things like that. And you're kind of on your own with those companies. And usually you can work it out, but it takes an investment of your time and energy, and you have to use your head. Sometimes, I mean, I got ripped off in the Mark Shifter scam, years ago. So yeah,
That's
he's
a
back.
name.
He's
There
back.
are still people
He's
today
back.
buying his product. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
There's
he's
people
back
today.
with Verify. Yeah.
And even when you tell them, I politely on Facebook just say, "Can you look up this guy before you start touting
Yeah.
him?"
Yeah.
They still, I'm like, you can't help some people. It is what it is. But yeah,
So I guess my point was I've had some, the whole gamut of experiences over my years in the hobby, and I've been working with Michael now, what, 3 years, right, Michael, something like that, and
Years.
we've had some bumps in the road on some things. Having a dealer who knows all that inside stuff like you do, Jason, as well, is very helpful because you don't spend all your time with that, and they do. So how to work through those things and make sure it gets resolved, and just getting some of the insights into that, it's worth it. You kind of think about how dealers earn their keep. That's one of the big ones, and I've had to use it, and it's worked, right, Michael? I mean, we've worked through some things, so I appreciate that.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, because the two things you brought up some good points I wanted to say about Michael is that number one, buying from him versus an online dealer or somebody else where it's just a online transaction, there is a big difference. There's a lot of value in having somebody like Michael who has seen a lot. For his own brands, he's told me about some issues that have come up and honest about them and tries to get them resolved, or he will pivot from a brand. These are kind of things that a lot of other dealers I've seen in the past will try to cover it up, don't want it publicized, don't want to deal with it, blame the customer, or just grin and bear it because, they don't want to deal with it. I've been very impressed with his transparency, telling me about issues, whether it's brands that he's considering or brands that he owns, very transparent there. This kind of value and one-to-one communication of the owner of the company is much better sometimes than ordering online and never having anybody but maybe a salesperson or a chat bot to talk to when you're ordering this stuff nowadays, or buying on AudioGo on eBay and taking your chances there. There is value with certain dealers. Obviously, there's some dealers that aren't so great, and that's an issue as well. I totally understand that, but people like myself, people in the WhatsApp group who have had so much experience over many years, even before I had a YouTube channel, I've had so much experience with dealers and distributors and manufacturers that I can give some good advice. A lot of that advice is only going to be one-to-one or WhatsApp private group related, because I'm not interested in doing a lot of that stuff publicly. So just a little added perk that you can, if you do join the channel and want some insights there, you've got all of these people and their experience willing to help you with no agendas or anything. All righty, guys. Anything? Let's look at the chat real quick. Okay. Yeah, I think successful for the first Zoom. Maybe we'll do this again in the future. Again, if you want the Sourcepoint 888 deal, you become a subscriber to my channel and hit join afterward, and then you'll get a link in the YouTube community section. There'll be a link to the WhatsApp, or you can email me if you can't find it. Also, every one of my videos, there is a link to join the YouTube section. If you want to do that, you can use that link. They'll join, and then you'll join our WhatsApp, and you won't see all the past chat that we've had, but you'll get access to everything going forward. You can either lurk in the background like many do. I think we got over 100 members last time I looked. Or you could be active like many of these guys are, helping each other out, sharing measurements, sharing recordings, sharing advice, talking about industry scuttlebutt, really getting, if you don't live in a city where you can join audiophile group, you don't have people you can talk about to share your hobby with, and you don't have the meet and greets that you do with car hobbies and stuff like that. This is a great way to get your almost, this is pretty much a post every hour each day. It's very rarely a day goes by without somebody posting something. And sometimes it's very active. So just want to give a shout out to that. And these are some of the guys you're going to be joining. Anything else, guys, before we wrap it up?
No, thanks for setting it up.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and again, Robert is going to keep giving us updates on his Sourcepoint 888. He's one of the few that has one out in the field. You'll be able to talk to him if you join the WhatsApp, and you can also DM these guys directly. Some of these guys have actually met up independently of the group, DM'd, and hang out on their own. So, all right, thanks for joining, everyone. I'll have some stuff for the membership section tonight because I'm going to go out.
Enjoy your dinner. Are you doing one of your fancy places?
Yeah, actually, remember, Stephanie is back in town. I haven't called her tonight. I'll see if she'll come out, but she's going to be back on the channel. Now, how many people remember Stephanie from my channel? Okay, Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. Two Michaels. So if you don't know Stephanie, I have a playlist on my channel. You need to catch up. It's called Crosstalk, where she, being a female, not really audiophile, but she loves music, loves great sound, would always come to 3MA and we'd do some videos together, and they're pretty hilarious. So if you liked Angela and her wife acceptance factor, Stephanie was the OG when it came to that. She moved to California, and now she's back, and so she'll be back on the channel soon. All right, so
I just want to finish up by saying thank you for taking the time to do this and meeting more followers of yours. So I really appreciate it. And I will back you up on all your Italian brands that I carry, a lot of them. I brought an AudioFlight recently, opera speakers. They're very, very good. I'll be testing out, hopefully very soon, AudioFlight amplifiers, and Gold Note, phenomenal stuff for the money.
Yeah, Gold Note. If you need a phono stage, I'll spoil a little bit for you. You need to be looking at Gold Note for a phono stage for sure. The other thing is they're doing some really unique part of this vinyl alliance, coming out with new non-vinyl analog records. That's going to be really cool. I want to get their XS87s sometime. I got to hear those at some point. AudioFlight. You're not going to believe this, but they use a C-core transformer with a toroid, something I've never seen before in any amplifier. That's going to be super innovative. And then, as you mentioned, Unison Research and Opera, these are just salt of the earth guys, the kind of Italian company that you're going to love the people, but there's a lot of technology and some really badass stuff. That Integrated, that Unison Research, it won't fit on most shelves. Here's my Stax X9000. This is pretty wide, but it would probably be these two combined is the width of that Unison Research integrated amp. It is so amazing. It's probably one of my bucket list integrateds to get at some point if I want to go back to tubes. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff on that, and I'm glad you're carrying a lot of their stuff. You also carry you have the Bach, you have a Coras in the background there. I think somebody was asking what speakers those were in the background. Those are Coras. You have Coda amps.
Yep.
And you've been really
Atmosphere.
Okay, yeah, Ralph Karsten, he's a long time in the hobby.
Sound Labs.
Sound Labs, okay. Diptyque, Unison Research.
Dutch and Dutch.
Yeah, Dutch and Dutch, yeah. I mean, you got killer brands. And to the point that another reason why I respect them, not only are you doing brands that don't have the highest profit margins, like the 70% margin guys that they have, but you're carrying brands like that, like a Bach, kind of cannibalizes itself. You can't sell extra preamps and extra cables and power cables, where a lot of dealers, they don't want to sell it because they cannibalize them. Same thing with Dutch and Dutch. You're carrying brands that are forward thinking and really are a benefit to the consumer, both in performance, economy of scale, value, everything is there. And I just did that video on preamps, which, I thought about it. I didn't even mention this in the video, but if you think about it, the only reason, not the only reason, but one of the few reasons there was always a separate preamp from the amp is that, if you recall, when we probably all got started in the hobby, remote controls were rare. You actually had to turn the dial. And so the preamp had to be separated from the amp because you needed to put it for people to be able to control it, and then you could put the amp somewhere separately. If we always had remote controls, I don't even know if preamps and amps would have been separated. I think that they would have always been integrated, like integrated amps are now. And you have all those synergy things I talked about in the preamp video taken care of because you have the preamp and amp in one chassis. If anything would have been separated, they'd put the power supply maybe in an outboard power supply. And there was one company, one of these dealers that I know has to pick up this one brand that I'm very intrigued by in Canada, Eon Art. And they were doing monoblock integrateds, which I really think is, nobody ever hears of monoblock integrated, but if you think about what I was just saying, that is the more appropriate way. Separate the boxes per channel. keep the preamp and amp in the same box, so that synergy's there. And then maybe Eon Arts is going to come out with a separate one with the power supply separate. So you actually, for the people that love lots of chassis, you would actually have more chassis. You'd have one for each channel plus outboard power supplies, but you'd have the preamp and amp synergy already taken care of. I'm very interested in that Eon Arts. Hopefully somebody I know picks up that brand and I can have more exposure with them in the US, because I think that they're forward thinking. And anyway, it's one of my hot brands that in the last year that I've found. Just wanted to throw in that tidbit, but I'm going to have to run. Anything else, guys? All right. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to everybody that joined on YouTube. Sorry I didn't get to the chat. I'll try to maybe do this now that it went well, where I can interact with more people on the chat and subscribers. And I'll have the full video of this in the near future on the channel for those that missed it.